179, whatever, microvolts. Okay, next please. So you can understand what the energies are about. Next please. Oh no, before that, one more. Okay, so a very important part of opening up ion channels is that the research that was done in 2008 from Johns Hopkins University in near Washington, D.C. They found that blocking potassium channels in stem cells slows their growth and differentiation. So you can utilize this technology with any stem cells that you may want to inject, if that is your preference. Although you can do it without injection, but some people prefer the injection. So what they found is that when you block potassium channels, these cells turn into cancer cells, turn into tumor cells. So that is a very important reason why you want these ion channels to be flexible. Next, please. So potassium channels and stem cell differentiation. Let's make a difference between stem cell proliferation, which means more cells, and stem cell differentiation. So a lot of research has shown that as you're aging, you actually have more cells. You don't have less cells, you have more cells, but you have less differentiated cells. What that means, what's a differentiated cell? A cell can just sit there and do nothing, or it can become skin or nose or eye. That's a differentiated cell. It can be liver, it can be kidney, or it can just sit there and be like a pile of soil kind of thing that you gather there, because it doesn't do anything. It's not differentiated. It's not useful. Only differentiated cells are useful to our body. That's why all the people form more cancers. Why? Because they actually have more cells, but they have less cells that are differentiated. Okay? So there is an importance that why you want to increase differentiation in all cells, including stem cells. And that's one of these things that this device will do. It will enhance stem cell differentiation. Okay, next please. So how does the IELLIOS repair proteins nonsense signals, turning them into meaningful signals? Okay, so this is basically an example of what a nonsense signal will look is underneath. So a nonsense alternating frequencies forming a biolanguage, right? And then a nonsense signal, because you lost certain aspects of the signal, is going to say AR, blah, blah, whatever. Oh, you don't know what this says, right? That's a nonsense signal. So that is what I'm talking about. I spoke before about nonsense signals. This is what a nonsense signal does. So what the IELLIOS will do is going to fill in these parts of the signal that are missing to make it coherent again. Are you with me? You understand now what neurofrequency is, right? Okay, next please. This is just another example. You can see one little thing can be wrong, and you can have a whole malfunctioning protein. So the frequencies and filling in missing part of broken biological sequences is extremely, extremely important for the body functioning. Next, please. Next. Okay, so this is just some of the frequencies that are on record from different studies. What you need to realize is none of them, you see the range, doesn't mean anything. This range is extremely, extremely high. What you need to do is you need to find a resultant of all of these frequencies that you're going to hit target. Otherwise, you're going to have a frequency that does not hit target. It's just a range. Do you see what I mean? And this is actually quite large. This is huge. 3,800 between 6,000 and 200. That is a huge difference between a huge range. And of course it gets less and less, but still even this is quite big. So to make a signal, a proper signal, you have to comprise several signals together that will get that signal to correspond to what the body is doing. Otherwise, if it doesn't correspond, then it's not good. It's just as good as nonsense. Next, please. So this is how the frequencies are built. You basically you see how this is like many different frequencies. You cannot see it, but this is several frequencies that are completely different from each other. Next, please. This is some more oscilloscopic diagrams, basically, that can show you how different frequencies. This is just one frequency, and yet there's thousands of little frequencies together. Next, please. Okay, and this is the communication board and how complex it is. This is what communicates with what. This is some of the technological drawings of the IELLIOS. Next. And that's one of the technological drawings. As you can, it's extremely complex. A lot of these components you cannot see with the naked eye. Nobody can really put it together that easily. And if you do put it together, then you don't know what the software are doing, you don't know what the programs are doing, so it's a very complex technology to communicate. Next, please. And then this is some more of the certificates of the IELLIOS. Next. And this is how, a lot of people ask, how does it do it, basically? And it does it through resonance. And what is resonance? Let me explain. Have you seen a boat crossing a lake and that creates a wave? And because the waves are similar, then they make a bigger wave and they make a bigger wave. So similar things, when they meet, they make a bigger thing. And dissimilar things, when they meet, they cancel each other out. So resonance is when these two that are similar meet and they make a bigger thing. That is how basically this process works. It works through amplifying frequencies. It's communication through frequencies. Next, please. Now, this is some protein labeled with, this is just more kind of molecular biology and how different kind of molecules are transferred. This is an energy transfer. This is a ATP donation, and how it goes from 3 to 2 points, 3 to 2 points. I'm gonna give you a little bit. It's a very complex diagram, but basically it's how things are bind into the system. Next, please. And now I'm going to start with the before and afters. That's going to be something that you can all enjoy. You don't have to think. Now you can sit back and relax with all the biochemical new concepts, and you can see some before and afters. This is from Dr. Prasad in Mexico. This lady started her IELLIOS treatments 3 years ago. Next, please. And this is today, 3 years later. She did about 10 treatments per year. Next, please. This is close to each other, so you can see it. Next. This is actually only one treatment, and this is before the IELLIOS. You can see the wrinkles around the eyes, and as you can see, all the wrinkles are gone. Now, and also you can see a lift. You see the cheeks are more, there is a depression here on the cheeks. The cheeks are more higher on both sides. Now, this is 2 treatments, and this person is younger. The younger the person, of course, the faster it's going to work. The older the person, the more treatments they're going to need. You have a significant decrease in pigmentations, skin lightening, acne, healing, and you have significant effects on pain. So you can have an entire pain clinic, neuropathic pain, carpal tunnels, sciatic pain. All you need is the IELLIOS, and all that is going to be healing very, very fast. Actually, the next day, they're going to feel no pain. Next, please. This is a gentleman, again Caucasian, and you can see a lot of wrinkles on his side, a lot of wrinkles on his forehead. We actually did Dr. Yoba's forehead, and we did see in one treatment quite a difference, and his neck. This gentleman had 2 treatments. It does make a difference, you know, obviously, if you have 1 treatment, it's not as good as if you have 2 treatments. If you have 5 treatments, it's going to be even better. So the more the better. You can do it every day. You can do it twice a week. You can do it 3 times a week. There's no pain. There's a lot of gain, basically. Next. This is another lady, and you can see this is only 1 treatment. There is some difference here. Obviously, she still has that. There is difference in the depression on her skin. There is some lift. But notice the coloring is much brighter face. Wrinkles have decreased significantly. These very, very deep wrinkles. But you see these are much closer together and they're deeper. This one are kind of more open because her face is more kind of lifted in that area. They're still there, of course, then she needs more treatments before she can get rid of this. But there is a significant difference between the 2. Next, please. This is again a before and after from Preciado. Primarily, you can see it in the eyes. This eye is even better than this one. You can see the eyelid has lifted, and this was the after was taken 3 months later, and she did have, I believe, 7 treatments. This patient. Next, please. This is a Dutch lady who came to our booth, and she did 2 treatments on 2 consecutive days. Well, one on one side and one on the other side. So it was really 1 treatment for the entire face. But and she had quite fantastic results. So she put us on television in Netherlands because she was so pleased with the results. Next one, please. This is, you cannot see this very well. You can probably see it better on the computer. But this lady has, I don't know if you can see these bumps here. She had a lot of these bumps. And there aren't too many things that you can do for these bumps. Actually, there is a lot of people that do lasers. They get these bumps under the skin. And the reason is because there's too much excessive collagen that stays there, so it creates the bumps. There was a significant kind of ironing out of these bumps after 2 IELLIOS treatments. Next, please. This is this is the famous singer that I was talking to you about. This is her before, and this is after. And she had 3 IELLIOS treatments. She's a famous Hong Kong singer and Chinese singer, and she just had a concert in Hong Kong. So she came, I did this myself, and she gave us a bunch of these testimonials. We put our logo on her concerts. She was just, she's very appreciative. She loves the technology. So we became friends. She comes to my house, so she wants to use my machine, of course. So, but you can see the difference on her face. She's fairly young, she's 45 years old, but still, for somebody who's on stage, it makes a huge difference. This versus this. Next, please. Okay, so why is IELLIOS necessary to use after lasers and radio frequency? It reduces inflammation, number 1. Okay? Reduces post-inflammation that may cause pigmentations increase after several years. And after certain laser or radiofrequency treatments, you might have an increase of post-inflammation. And it also repairs protein signals. We already spoke about that. and it enhances the repair mechanisms. And we'll talk about how, the chaperones and so on and so forth. Don't fall asleep on me, please. Okay, next, please. Next. Everybody fell asleep. Okay, so what happens during laser radio frequency plus IELLIOS? So you have the laser, you have the trauma, the body signals our repair mechanism to initiate actions. Okay, so this is what happens with the laser. Okay, so the body says now you're going to have to concentrate here, and so what you have really with the laser treatments, but you do that with the IELLIOS without the trauma. Everything that you can do with the laser, you can do with the IELLIOS but without the trauma. Of course, if you have the two together, what happens is because you have created the urgency, that urgency gathers all these signals in that area, and then it's much easier for IELLIOS to repair those signals. So you have, what do you have? You don't, maybe you don't know that, but this is what happens after lasers and radio frequency. That's what the body does to repair the trauma. It does increased collagen and elastin and other related proteins, increases the J and K pathway signaling and other signaling, because that's going to increase to send the message out. It increases perimodular epithelium cells to mitigate towards the signaling to heal the trauma. Red blood cells carrying nutrients and oxygen, increases proliferation so they can kind of close the wound, increases differentiation. Not always. Differentiation, it does not increase. You see, that is something that the IELLIOS will do, but the lasers will not going to do, because there is nothing to increase different. They increase the proliferation to do the wound, to close the trauma, but differentiation is not necessarily going to be enhanced. So you're going to have some essential functions that the IELLIOS will do that you cannot have in the laser treatments. It repairs defective nonsense protein signals and balances out inflammatory and anti-inflammatory processes. Now this part, the repair of the protein signals and the increased differentiation, this too is what thickens the skin that we said. That is the only technology that thickens the skin under the eyes and lifts the drooping eyelid. The reason is because it increases skin tissue exactly by these two processes. Next, please. This is just some of the proteins, so just another biochemistry part. So DDR1 does not increase proliferation, but DDR2 does. And then you have this A1B1 protein, A2B1 protein that also increase proliferation, but these ones are questionable. And then adhesion is increased with all of them, but not DDR2. So different proteins and different collagen synthesis depends on specific proteins. So it's a lot more complicated than saying, oh yeah, just increase collagen. It's everything is signaling. Okay, next please. So advantages of using IELLIOS after laser radio frequency is that basically you have already triggered the repair mechanisms. 40% of these repair mechanisms will be dealing with the trauma. The remaining 60% are used for rejuvenation. Then the signaling will amplify the signals of the repair mechanisms, and because you have concentrated them, it's going to be far more effective. And the synergy between laser and radio frequency is going to give you a much higher effectiveness in your anti-aging process. Next, please. And this is a lady that did laser, ultrasound, and then that's after when the IELLIOS was added to it. As you can see, the skin tone is much better. There's of course a lifting, the ultrasound is not going to lift. And there is an improvement in the eyes. As you can see, the eyes look much, much better than here. And it's also much lifted. Next, please. And this is at the side, and again, you see, look at the eye here, and look at her eye, how much, I mean, it's just one treatment, but still, you can see a significant difference when you add the IELLIOS after the radiofrequency. There is a difference here. You can see the quality of the skin is much better, and this line and this line is much reduced. And of course, there is a lift. You see that depression here, and there is a bit of a lift. Because why? Because there was increased tissue, and therefore it looks plumper, it looks fresher. She looks younger than she looks here. Next, please. Okay, that is a lady that did laser on her pigment, and then we added the IELLIOS, and as you can see, look at this, is still quite dark, and this one is much lighter, significantly lighter. We just did one side of this person. Of course, it looks lifted, the eye looks better, the eyebrow is higher, so this there was a significant improvement. Next, please. That is the side. As you can see, some of these little wounds that the laser caused was all kind of healed, and there is, you cannot see it here, but I mean, if you saw it on the mirror, you would see that her skin looked significantly lighter after the IELLIOS treatment. And it's just the combination that made it look like that, actually, the synergy. Next, please. This is somebody that had laser, and as you can see, look at the significant healing of all of these wounds. As you can see here, this is significant healing. Actually, I invite you to see this on the computer. It looks much more pronounced, but you can see it over here as well. Over here, and over here, over there, and over here. Significant difference. Next, please. And there is also a number of studies on psoriasis, diabetic chronic wounds, and accident acute wounds with the IELLIOS. Next. This is the star, actually, that's the singer. And she also had eczema. You cannot see it very well, but again, if you saw it in the computer, this looks really, really bad. And then a week later, after one treatment, it looked much, much better. Next, please. Actually, this is a week later. We only did one treatment, and this was a week later. And that was the before again. And a week later, it was almost gone completely. After that treatment, it just started healing by itself. Next, please. She had that psoriasis. She had that for like months and months and months. It wasn't getting any better. This is chronic psoriasis, and as you can see, that's 10 treatments before and after, and that's from Singapore. Next. That's somebody's arm. Again, a significant improvement after 10 treatments. Next. And this is a traffic accident. This person was told that he will never grow nails, and if you see, this part is to the bone. So they saw that he will never be able to gain mobility. He actually grew nails, and he, his hand appeared to be completely normal after 15 treatments. This is somebody that was working for us, so this is a study that we did. Next, please. This is very interesting. This is a diabetic wound, and this is after 6 treatments, and this is a year later. There was no reoccurrence of the wound, and there was complete healing. Diabetic wounds, as you probably know, do not heal. They just stay open like this. So that's another study that we did in Aruba. And this concludes, thank you. Can you, one last one? Thank you very much. That concludes the lecture. I hope I did not burden you too much with 2 crazy concepts that you can ask all the questions you like. I don't know if you have any questions. Do you have any questions? Yes. Thank you. Finally, a question.
Okay, thank you. My name is Okta from Surabaya. I want to ask you about three questions. The first one is the treatment, the IELLIOS treatment. Is the accompanying treatment with laser and RF, or is a substitution?
No, you can do it by itself.
Can
Yeah, we'll just do it by itself.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that you can combine it with laser. If you want, if you so attach to the laser and you want to have like something more together, then you can combine it with laser. But you can certainly do it by itself. There's no reason why.
If I combine with laser, can the two treatment done in the same session, or
That's right.
in the same session?
One after the other.
One?
One after the other. So you do first the laser and then the other.
And the second question is, can the chaperone protein change the worst image protein, the aggregated one, to the well-folding one?
Yes, that's what it does. What chaperone proteins do, the fold proteins, like your laundry kind of person who folds clothes, right? If the proteins are basically they unfold. If the proteins are folded, then it doesn't, you cannot, it's useless, okay? So what the chaperone will do is going to go there, it's going to start folding it again. So we call it denatured when it gets unfolded, and we call it renatured when it's folded again, basically. So that's the job of the chaperones. It's extremely important job, because the proteins is like the brain of the cell, and they have to be folded or they're useless. So the chaperones is what does the folding. It's a lot more than folded clothes. I mean, you can wear creased clothes, but you cannot use proteins that are aggregated.
Okay, the last one, the interesting things about the diabetic one. The healing, I see that the healing is quite well. And how is the glucose? Is that fluctuating or is stable?
I'm going to get you in touch with this doctor from Aruba, and she can give you the entire protocol. I don't have that information, but I will give you her phone number. I actually have it on my phone, and you can call it. It's Aruba, so it's probably it's like 12 hours difference, I think. So like around 8 p.m. your time is going to be 8 a.m. her time. So you can call her. I will email her to prepare her, and I will introduce you to her. She can give you all the information. So to that dog. She actually has done a lot of the studies. She has a lot of diabetic patients. Not everybody is going to give us their pictures, so we have limited, library. But she has an iPad, and it's like full of these pictures. I mean, so she is an expert in that, and she uses the IELLIOS. She does research right now with the IELLIOS in Netherlands. So she will give you a lot of information if you're interested in that area. Oh, I see. So there is a need. Any more questions?
Thank you, Dr. Saya. My name is Elita. I want to ask you about the concept, because I see that it's quite interesting. Yeah? It's very scientific about opening the channel. I want to ask is about the differences from this with the concept of the iontophoresis, because I'm also familiar with that but I don't know what is the difference with the IELLIOS.
Yeah, antiphoresis is slightly different. It really has to do with, I guess, electrons carrying in the product. But nobody knows why or how it's been carried in. Here, what you say is, okay, I want to be specific. I want to make sure that every single molecule is going to be carried through. Because if you have a signal, you cannot have a hit and miss, right? Because it's like having a cell phone. You want that cell phone to transmit the entire conversation, because if only half of what you're saying is being transferred, there's no communication. So what this does, it basically specifically uses energies that will open the ion channels. So antiphoresis can happen. Of course, my guess is that some of it happens through ion channels, but it's a hit or miss, you see. It's not a specific science. Here you say, okay, I'm going to have certain energies that no matter what I do, they will open these ion gates. And at all points, when I want to pass these signals, the settings will go through. So that the trick is that it's far more specific. It's far more scientific, if you want to say. You know, it's exact. It's more exact. But nothing is exact. But it's more. It's significantly more exact than antiphoresis. Antiphoresis is like. Yes?
Dr. Stania?
Yeah.
Very interesting from your presentation. I have two questions.
Yes.
First, what is the contraindication for this treatment, IELLIOS? Is it safe for patients with history of cancer?
Yeah.
Is it safe for them? Because when we're doing radio frequency, then we have to be careful if the patient has past history of cancer.
Yeah.
And then the second one is, you mentioned about stem cells. I still haven't known how you do the IELLIOS. Is a stem cell using when you're doing the IELLIOS? And if we're doing with stem cells, is there any certain stem cells for doing this? Is it from human or other stem cells?
Okay. Very excellent questions. Let's start from the beginning. It actually has a long answer. So the first question has to do, which one do you want answered first? The stem cells or the
cancer?
The cancer, okay. So the problem with radio frequency denatures proteins and DNA. So if you have a history of cancer, that's going to be very deleterious. So that's why they say to you, if they have a history of cancer, don't do it, because the cancer is going to take off. Now, the IELLIOS, we have not used it yet fully with cancer patients as a research, but conceptually, we think that it will help because it corrects the signals. All right, what is cancer? So there is a new body of research that says that cancer is faulty signals that the cells did not get. It's not that the cells are rebel cells and they don't want to comply with the system and they want to do whatever they want, which is why that's how they have seen cancer traditionally. Here they say, well, perhaps that's not the case. Perhaps it's just very obedient cells like all the other cells, but they got the wrong directions because of faulty DNA. And usually what you see with cancer, if you look at genetic testing, you see that there is a faulty DNA thing in the genetic structure of the person, and that's why we have this great instance of cancer. So the faulty DNA, one letter of the DNA is wrong, then there is a possibility of cancer. So when you look at it from this point of view, you say, okay, well, then if it's wrong signals, and if I have a technology that repairs the signals, now, of course, you need to make a technology that's more specific to these kind of signals. But look at, what is cancer related to? The JNK pathway is related to cancer. When you block that pathway, you have an increased incidence of cancer, right? Like the P53 gene, that causes not just causes apoptosis. I mean, it stops it stops all migration of cells, all different proliferation of cells. There's no mitosis at all. It stops everything. It stops cancers, but it stops also the normal cells. But you can turn it on and off with signaling. I'm not saying that we have this signal in the IELLIOS because we do not. But this is all part of the signaling process. So eventually, this technology could be used in that route, but we're going to need more research. We're going to need, so it's not like you can take this into cancer if you want. But I don't think it would be a contraindication because it would be towards the direction of helping rather than not helping. So conceptually, if you think about it as a concept, yeah, radiofrequency multilateral products, yes, of course, it's not, you don't want to have somebody who has a predisposition to cancer because then they might get cancer. If you denature more projects, most of us can handle these errors. With a healthy body can handle errors. Otherwise, we could be all sick tomorrow. So we handle errors, we can get rid of bad cells, we can recreate cells, and that's very bad mechanisms. So the answer is, it will probably help, but we don't know the answer to the question. But it will not be contraindication. Contraindications, we still say pacemaker, although we never tried it, and we're not going to try it because you don't want to risk it. It's signaling. Pacemaker is signaling. It basically gives signals to the pacemaker cells. This gives signals to the proteins. With that signal, conflict with the pacemaker signal and create a problem, we don't know. We haven't tried it, we're not going to. And of course, we say pregnant women because we don't want to do anything with pregnant women just in case they lose the baby. And
Also lactation, pregnancy and lactation?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect lactation, but it's not going to really do anything with the pregnant women, but you don't want
any side effects.
You don't want anything. You don't want them to get nervous and basically blame you for it. So, no pregnant women, nothing to do with bringing another life, and of course pacemaker. But all of these technologies, that's what basically you say. Pardon? Somebody said something?
Someone from the back.
Okay. So the second question has to do with stem cells. How does it help stem cells? The number one way is because you don't need needles to administer them. Okay, it opens the ion channels, so you can pass stem cell extracts in. Not stem cell extracts, that's much smaller than stem cells, right? The proteins. Now, how it would help stem cells if you just did an injection of stem cells? Would that help? Well, what happens is that stem cells need to be differentiated or they're going to be useless. They can create tumors if they're not differentiated. And we're talking about primarily embryonic stem cells that will become tumors. The other ones they want because they're adult, they know what they're doing, they're more kind of, the embryonic are very dangerous because of this kind of, but they are the best stem cells too, they're the most effective ones because they live the longest and they're far more effective than anything else, but they're very dangerous. The greatest danger, and that's what the Hopkins University research is about, the greatest danger is that the stem cells only have potassium channels. So if those potassium ion channels are blocked, then they have nothing. And because there is a possibility that these channels will get blocked, okay, Now, what the IELLIOS will do is will unblock the channels, because that's what it does, it opens the gates. So it will help some of these stem cells to differentiate that would have otherwise have been damaged. So in that sense, it will help stem cells to differentiate and exist versus, you know, just doing that injection and leaving it to luck kind of thing. So if you did the injection and used the IELLIOS, you would see a much more pronounced effect in stem cells because less of them will die. There would be a greater survival rate and a greater kind of distribution rate. And they would differentiate much better because you would not have the danger of ion channels being blocked.
So,
You understand what I'm saying?
yeah. So if we're doing IELLIOS, we can use another solution except stem cells. Is it what do you mean?
You can use, no, you
Anything.
can use stem cells, you can use another, you can use any solution you want. If you use stem cells, okay, well, you can use extract or you can use actual stem cells. The stem cells you're going to have to inject. You cannot just put them on top. You can use the extracts and they can be absorbed through the ion channels. The stem cells are not going to be absorbed through the ion channels, okay? So the stem cells you're going to have to inject. If you're injecting stem cells, you have to inject them. There is a problem with the stem cells that we inject. The problem is that all cells have channels. They have gates, what we call ion channels. The stem cells only have potassium ion channels. So if that's blocked, they got nothing. It's like a house with no doors, no windows, no entry, no exit. Or a body that cannot excrete and cannot receive. With that. So the IELLIOS will unblock these channels and will help a lot of these cells to survive. So if you do stem cells and you do the IELLIOS, you will have a much better differentiation of stem cells than if you did not do the IELLIOS. Is that clear? But you can do other substances. You can do anything. I mean, you can put other substances in it. There's going to be a higher absorption. It's going to be treated as a nutrient in that case. Any more questions?
One more question is
Yes.
I saw about psoriasis. IELLIOS can help psoriasis. Can it also help for other dermatitis? Like we have found many patients with sensitive skins and then they have atopic dermatitis. Can it help?
It usually helps with all inflammatory conditions. We have seen a lot of, I mean, I have personally dealt with a lot of dogs that have the IELLIOS that are treating certain dermatological conditions. I'm not sure exactly what you are referring to and if it would help that particular one. It seems to be helping dermatological conditions that are based on inflammation quite a lot. It's significant. So, again, I don't want to say that it will completely heal it. It might be, like for example, it will not kill bacteria. So if a dermatological condition is based on bacteria, it will work on the inflammatory part and the swelling part, but it's not going to help on the killing the bacteria. So it will be a limited, you know, it will help, but it might not completely heal it. It depends on what it is. You know, you just need to understand the technology the way it is. Basically, it works with inflammation. It will balance out the inflammation. That's a significant part. But I mean, there's other things that you need, other technologies to deal with. It's not a magic thing.
About your photos, the psoriasis one, may I know, is it IELLIOS with some solution or with stem cells?
Nothing.
Nothing,
It's
just
IELLIOS.
IELLIOS. That's very good result.
All of those trauma conditions were just IELLIOS, nothing else. The stem cells, we discovered them very, very recently. There is a lady, there is a doctor in France that has some stem cell extracts that we used and we found to be, and I have them with me, I can use it. I used them Dr. John before. And you can see for yourself what you think. I don't know, I found it to be very, very interesting. You know, it's not like I know all the other solutions of stem cells, I don't. So, you know, maybe you know something even better. I don't, that's not my expertise. But I was very impressed because we utilized that and we utilized with the IELLIOS, and it seems to have really great results. But we have not used it with wounds or anything like that. We used it with wounds after lasers, but not any, you know, like this. Oh, I used it with this lady, the singer on the eczema. I used some stem cells there, but a week later, it was really gone, and she was very, because she had cancer, you know, she wanted to, you know, she did not want to go to the concert and have these things, you know, obviously nobody can see, it's so far away. People are very self-conscious, so she was ecstatic.
Thank you, Dr. Sandy. Yeah. Okay.
We need a model, somebody who's old, please. No, she is 10 years old. I want somebody that, I know you guys are a bit young. All of you. I'd like to ask occasionally that is old. From questions we get 30. But we need somebody that doesn't look, that looks a little older. She looks 14. Somebody who looks older, please. No offense.
Dr. Henny?
May I see your face?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely you're going to be much better subject. And you're going to love it, actually. You're going to see lightening, you're going to see wrinkles. Let me see if you can also, you're not, your skin is very thicker. We want somebody with a thin skin because that's where you're going to see the technology working the best. Because it uses skin tissue, so you're going to see it like fluffing and getting your skin much more. You are 10 years old. You don't need it. Oh yes, okay, for that, yeah, we can do that so you can see. No, you don't feel anything. You actually start feeling very, very relaxed. So yeah, no, you will enjoy it. You will love it. There's no sensation. It will just relax you. It gives you like, as soon as you go on it, you start feeling like honey comes through your body. I'm telling you, it's like a very, very relaxing procedure. Very, very relaxing. Okay. I need some help to plug in the machine.
Mohon untuk IELLIOS team bisa mempersiapkan
Hi. Oh, no, you